Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Bow, bow, bow.
I am Sam Nifty Delaney. So,
welcome along. It's the Monday morning episode, but you get it on a Sunday evening if you are subscribed to the IFS, Iron Filing Society. It sounds a bit like a Jarvis Cocker lyric, that doesn't it? Yeah. Well, she gets it on a Sunday evening, that kind of thing. She wants it on a Monday. Jarvis Cocker was on Top of the Pops 1995. I watched on Friday night. It was that one you might remember where it was Blur versus Oasis, and Blur were number one and Oasis were number two, and they were both on the show. And Jarvis Cocker presented it.
Did he?
Yeah. So that's nice. But there was a bit where he was doing the top 10 rundown, doing the chart countdown, and it was number 10. Who was it again? Yeah, Corona, try me out. Don't mind if I do. I thought, fucking hell, it's the Top Flight Tune Machine chart countdown.
Maybe the next Top Flight Tune Machine will do in the style of Jarvis Cocker.
Jarvis Cocker, yeah, special guest chart countdowner. Fucking hell, I thought, yeah, because we feel as though we're operating in like the 1970s. I think when we do that, that kind of chart countdown, but that was still prevalent in 95, and none other than Jarvis Cocker.
No,
being a bit suggestive and rude.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I would have liked to have seen that. That's like peak Euro 96 Top of the Pops, that, isn't it?
Well, it'll be on the iPlayer. So
I'll have a look at that.
Dig it out. Have a look. Do the search. Oh, it should say as well, this is one of the episodes that we do now and again from time to time, which you can also watch on YouTube if that's what you're into. Seeing us doing this podcast, I can't see what kind of advantage it would have, but they are.
It's an aesthetic experience. It's almost full sensory. We're not quite full sensory yet, but our ambition by 2026 is to be all sensory and net zero, fully electric. We're going to go this podcast will be a fully electric podcast by 2026, and it will engage all of your, how many senses are there again? There's 6, isn't there?
There's 7 now.
Smell, taste, touch, hearing, seeing,
feeling, and guessing.
And also tummy. Yeah. 8
senses now. We're up to 8 senses.
And this podcast is gonna engage all 8 of those by the year 2026.
At the same time, with the emphasis on the tummy, hopefully.
So if you don't subscribe already via Patreon, and look us up, subscribe now, and you will, by the end of this year, we might have a 3rd or 4th sense engaged. So
possibly. We're also going to be
involved before we go fully electric, because that's going to be something pretty historical.
We're also aiming to be self-cleaning, the world's first self-cleaning podcast.
Yeah.
By 2026 as well. I don't know what that entails, but it's something we signed up for with the podcast elders, and we're committed to it. We're deeply committed to it.
Big plans to put on Planet Top Flight Time Machine. I went to the stationers again yesterday. You're probably going to, if you remember, only recently I bought some stationery. Well, I've been back.
And yet you're buying more?
Yeah, well, once you get into it, I mean, you start to think, I need this, I need that. What I got yesterday, seeing as this is a visual one, I might as well show you some things.
Do it.
I got myself a new pencil sharpener, mate, and I've got to tell you, I'm fucking buzzing off it, right? Look at this. They had them in different colours. I chose yellow because I thought that was quite striking.
Oh, I like that.
But it's one of these that you don't need to go over the bin. And even better, Andy, is it's got a flip top. Look. Right? Did you see that?
Look at that.
And then 2 different size of orifice. Yeah.
Crayon and pencil.
Put in the pencil in the smaller of the 2 orifices.
Twirl and twist.
Actually, I've just sharpened that, so I'm going to show you with a
unsharpened. Do a blunt one for us.
You don't get this on fucking Joe Rogan. This is like live video pencil sharpening. Look at that. As you can see, pretty blunt. That pretty fucked, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I
feel sorry for the people who just listen to this in audio.
The small orifice twist. How many twists would you give it? Because you can over sharpen, can't you?
You can, and it'll just snap and start again. I'll give it 6.
All
6
right,
twists.
that's too many. This is a pretty hardcore sharpener.
It's quite sharp, is it? You've
done 3. Oh, that's nowhere near. Maybe you were right.
I said 6.
4, 5, 6. So I think I'm going in for a 7th, mate. 7, 8. Yeah, that's about right.
So look. Yeah. Oh, that looks good.
Okay.
Nice and even.
All of the
shavings
and so forth, the mess is all in this little bucket here. And what's better is if it gets knocked off the table by a cat, for instance.
Yeah.
No worries, because flip top.
No harm. Pop. There you go.
Into place. There you go. And I think
nice and secure.
I think it looks nice too, don't you? The yellow is
very aesthetically pleasant.
Striking. So
is it self-cleaning?
No, I will have to empty that at some point, but not yet. I mean, I've got a few more sharpens yet before I need to think about emptying that into the bin.
Very good. Very
I also got, and you might tease you about this because this is pretty posh, but I've got a week away coming up in Guernsey to try and finish this book that I've got to finish, right?
One of those writers' retreats, is it?
Well, let's just say I've had a bit of a result, and I think I don't know if he listens to this podcast, but basically, let's just say a friend has made a hotel room available to me for a week to finish my book. So I'm very lucky, and I thought,
will your friend be staying in the room as well?
I don't think so. He hasn't mentioned it, but yeah, I don't know.
Check the small print.
Part of the deal. Yeah, no, he said he's not going to be there. I'm going to Guernsey, mate. I've never been to Channel.
I've never been either. Seems far too far away.
Yeah, well,
is it partly French, Guernsey?
It's 45 minutes from Gatwick. I know that much.
Oh, you got to go on a plane. It's an island, isn't it?
Yeah, you can get a ferry or a plane, but I got a cheap flight.
Brilliant.
So that's the result. And I've got a notepad for the trip so I can make some notes.
So you can journal your thoughts and feelings. Yes.
And this is the notepad.
Oh, very sophisticated. Is it lined?
No. Guess what it is. Did you see?
Guess what it is?
Yeah.
Squares.
Squares.
Graph
paper.
Oh.
Graph paper.
What the hell?
Right. Bit of graph paper in the notepad.
You can draw some like fantasy Tetris scenes, can't you?
Yeah. I'll be drawing some graphs, obviously. There might be,
of course.
Who knows, there might be some graphs in my new book. Why not?
Wow.
Highlighters.
Sam Delaney's book of graphs.
Yeah. Publisher like, this isn't what we agreed to. No. Obviously, my ideas are very organic. They're very fluid. They can change at all times. I think I gave you in the contract, it gave you a flavor of what the book might be about. But, but it did say 80,000 words, and this is no words at all. It's just graphs. There's words
80 graphs.
Yeah, but there's words along the up line and the down line. What do you call them? The axis.
I'm the lady. My 80 favorite graphs.
Stabilo,
what else you got?
A pack of Stabilo highlight.
Oh yeah, solid. My son's got some of them for his revision. GCSE.
And lastly, this is a curveball, but I think you're going to like it. And I actually believe that everyone would benefit from having some of these hanging around the house. Adhesive labels. Address labels.
I thought that was going to be indigestion tablets at first.
No, because it's a stationery.
Gaviscon.
Do you ever buy address labels?
No, I don't. I can't say that I do. No,
I love labeling things, mate.
Yeah,
I got notes for various things, and I put them in one of those, those clear plastic folders that go into ring binders. I put the notes
Polly Pockets,
and I put the Polly Pocket in the binder, and then to remind me what the notes are about, I put a little label on, and it says graphs, for instance.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love getting stationery and trying to get organized. I'm not a particularly organized person. You know this, but sometimes stationery can work wonders. It's
good for mindfulness, I think.
I do.
It ties in with all that colouring in fad.
I used to love going into stationery shops, especially stationery shops when I was a kid. Like Ryman's, but there was an independent one near my house, and it was called Hedgehog, right?
Right.
And it was my favorite fucking shop, to the extent that one year, like, my mum would say, right, on your birthday, rather than buy you a present you wake up, or she might get me something small, we'd go out for the day, and you can choose a shop, and we'll have like a budget, and you can get a couple of things in the shop. And one year we went up to Hamleys, and I actually got a wooden fort, a cowboy fort. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was 1 year. And I think, I can't remember where we ate, but we ate somewhere up there in the West End. And the next year, she went, where do you want to go this year? Do you want to go to Hamleys again? I went, no, I want to go to Hedgehog. She looked at me like, you what? I want to go to Hedgehog. She went, Hedgehog, that fucking shop that sells pens in the high street.
You lost your fucking mind.
Are you mental?
Son.
And I was like, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. And you know what I wanted? And I don't think we got it because I think it was too pricey, or my mum just would have made up an excuse. She thought, this is too far. He's gone. He's fucking lost his nut now. I've always thought this was a weird one. I got 4 of the cunts, and this one's the fucking oddball, right? I wanted a little filing cabinet, one of those ones that's like yay high that you keep on the desk with like little drawers.
With drawers in, Nice.
She's like, are you fucking joking? And I was like, that's what I want. And she was like,
keep me papers in.
I can't remember what she said. She was just sort of made an excuse that like she just wasn't. I mean, I was like 10 or something. She's like, come off it, you little punts. I'm not getting you a fucking filing cabinet. But I just loved stationery shops. I just loved.
Oh, you're some kind of little businessman now.
What are you fucking? What are you fucking running your own fucking sub post office? Are you,
son? Never ever leave a paper trail.
Yeah, you can have it, but I don't want you keeping anything in them. Nothing documented ever. So, yeah.
Oh man,
never got that. I bought myself a filing cabinet years later, but I don't know
proper
what happened to it. Proper one.
We in Sunderland, we used to have, there was an independent bookshop called Hills.
Yeah. And
downstairs was all the books.
Yeah.
All the various departments: fiction, non-fiction, children's.
Pornos. No.
Pornos at the back.
Erotic.
Yeah. There actually was a porno bookshop in a part of Sunderland called Southwick. Which was where it was close to where I used to go to college when I'm between the ages of 16 and 18. And if you got off the bus early, you could have a mooch about in Southwick. And there was a shop that just sold bongo literature. I was too scared to go in, but you could tell from the window display what was in there. But never went in. But anyway, back to Hills.
All right, I'll tell you about mine after you've told me about Hills.
All right, so Hills was a bookshop. Downstairs was the books. Upstairs was arts and crafts department. And that's where you would get all your stationery, and it's also where you would get your letter set.
Letter set.
Because we've talked about letter set in the past.
We're
big fans of letter set. Did you see that documentary recently that was on Talking Pictures TV?
No,
about letter set?
I saw you tweet about it, and I meant to fucking watch that. Was it good?
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been on again, but if you go to Talking Pictures TV website, they've got a catch-up thing, and I think it's still on there. You can sign up for free, and the letter set documentary is on. It's like 25 minutes long. It's lovely bit. It's very mindfulness, mindfulness. So yeah, Hills was my go-to place for stationery, books, and the letter set as well. When I used to do my own fanzines when I was a teen.
Fanzines.
Yeah,
that's what Profanity Swan, which is your handle on Twitter and Instagram,
on social media. Yeah. Have I got a copy close by? I don't know if
that was the name of your fanzine, wasn't it?
The Profanity Swan, and it was just a random phrase that came into my mind.
It's a good phrase. What did you? Right. How old were you when you started the Profanity Swan?
I did the Profanity Swan when I was about 22, I think. Right. But me and mate had done one when we were at college.
Yeah,
which was it had a different title, a less politically correct title. I think it hasn't aged well. It was called Seal Clubbing Weekly.
Right. Good job. That's not your Twitter handle.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the first one we did, and we sold 5 copies of that in a second-hand bookshop in Sunderland Town Centre. 5 copies.
That must have been quite a buzz to sell 5 copies.
Yeah, we went in and we said the fellow, how many of you sold? He went 5. He's £2.50.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. How old were you?
Yeah, 17, I think.
Yeah, that must have been fucking amazing.
And we just went off and we bought a big tub of ice cream, and we hired. We rented Withnail and I from the video rental shop. We spent the afternoon watching that with the ice cream.
And with that, you're on your way.
That was it. That's how it started.
You could make up shit in your head.
Yeah.
And someone would pay for it. So,
you buy ice cream with the money. Yeah. Fucking hell. Fucking never look back.
Dreamland, mate.
So that was Soup Club and Weekly. You were going to tell me about a porno shop.
Well, the one in my area, there was one on Hammersmith King Street, and it was called, and the sign outside just said books. That's all it said.
Yeah, I think it was a similar one in Southwick, yeah.
But it wasn't like subtle though. Like if you're in Soho still now, I mean, there's less of them. You know, there'd be like knocking shops, and the signage is quite. You know, it'd say something like the classic sign was handwritten in felt tip in a doorway, and it'd go, "Dusky model, please walk up." Right? It said that kind of thing. Dusky model, please walk up was the classic, right? I think there was just
the dusty model.
I think there was just one of them in Soho, but my brothers and all my brothers worked in Soho from when they were like very young, up Soho, right? Obviously in dirty films, up Soho.
Where they have their dirty films, yeah.
Yeah. And I used to I used to go after school on the tube. I'd go straight from school and meet them sometimes with like my mate, and we'd go and basically go to the pub. They'd buy us beers or whatever, and so you spent time hanging around in Soho. So you'd see these signs, and you know, obviously, 16 years old, you find it never stops being fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah,
the idea of prostitutes. Now, obviously, now we're older and wiser, and we realise that sex worker is a legitimate career.
I think that's what you're supposed to say now, yes.
But we also recognise that some sex workers have been coerced, and
yes, that's not good.
It's a complex subject, but when you're 16, it's not complex. You find it slightly thrilling, very scary, and absolutely hilarious, right?
But not sexy.
No, you're not like, oh yeah, I would like to do it with a prosser.
Russell Brand did. His dad bought him one for his birthday, didn't he?
Yeah.
He turned out all right.
Have you ever seen the film Mask with Cher in it? I remember seeing that when I was going, and she does the same. But he, to be fair, it's like basically the American version of the Elephant Man.
He's facially challenged.
He's got some sort of facial issue, and so his mum, who is Cher, gets him a prosser for his birthday.
That must be confusing for any young man.
If your mum's Cher,
Cher's your mum. Yeah. Is this the era of the postcards in the telephone boxes as well? Yeah.
God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this ties into Letrasex. I spoke before about how my sister, when she was like young, when she was a teenager, she dated a guy called Hayden, and he was and they were both very young. And they used to house sit or flat sit for me and my good wife when we were away, if we were on holiday or whatever, because they were students. And he did all of his art. I was like, oh, this fella you're knocking about with, artist, is he? Yeah. All right, fair enough. What sort of art does he do then? Paintings, still life, watercolors. What sort of thing is it exactly? And
what's his name? David Skew.
She goes, he works a lot with Letraset, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
right. Anyway,
but he does.
This is all linked up because I came. I mean, I've told you some, but I came back from holiday, and they'd been flat sitting for like 2 weeks for us. This is long before. I think it was before me and my missus were even married, but we were living together. And he said, he was quite a shy guy, and he went, thanks a lot for letting me stay in your place. And I went, oh, you don't have to say thank you. You're doing us a favor, you know. And he went, well, I've made you something, right? And he made me this art print, which I think he actually framed it, or maybe I framed it. And it was based on and he was quite a shy bloke, right? Quite, you know, quiet. And he'd made me this outrageous, but I thought really good, like big art print, right? And it was based on a phone box prosser card. And I was like, part of me was like, fucking hell, how the fuck do you even know what these are? Right? You wouldn't say put it to a goose, but it was one when they had this girl, and it was done with Letraset style lettering.
Yeah.
Right? And it had this girl, and she's like on her knees, and she's topless, but she's got two of those sort of stars over her boobs that you use, you know, like sale signs, like
boob stars. Yeah.
And the headline just, it had a phone number, and the headline just said in Letraset, "Does your wife know?" And I actually framed that and had it on the wall for a while until we had kids, and we took it down and put it in the attic. Of course, it's a bit like, can't have this up with the kids around. It's not on. You can't expose the kiddies to that sort of thing.
Yeah, right? I put that out of the way. You should have set fire to it, really. You don't want that in the house at all.
He is now a successful and famous artist. He's in his 30s now. My sister dated him for, I don't know, quite a few years actually, and then they split up when they were, I think, 20 or whatever. And now his art is worth money. He's like, well,
tell us about this guy before. He said he had a few bits of work that he did, and he bought them.
Hayden Case, his name is.
Yeah, not he didn't buy him out of sympathy, but you kind of felt obliged to just buy a few off him.
The other thing he did was, I said once, "Oh yeah," I said, "I need a bit of corporate logoing done for my company." Yeah. Right, I had a company, but it was just like, it was only me. It was like, a limited company like we have now, like Uncle Harrington Enterprises, right?
It's going to be a new company, yeah.
We'll keep that under wraps for now, right? But like, I said, will you do it? And he said, yeah. And I thought he was going to do it on a computer like most of these designers do. And then he turned up around my house. He had cut out by hand about 50 cards from like cereal boxes. That's how he'd sourced his cardboard, right?
Right.
And he'd cut out 50 really precise shape and size business card bits of cardboard, but from our Weetabix boxes. And then he'd done hand-drawn illustrations and Letraset writing on each and every individual card. So each one was different. By hand, 50 of them.
Fucking hell.
And I've got them lying about.
And you still got them. So get them sold, mate.
Got to get them sold, haven't I?
Get them sold.
Unbelievable.
It's a big deal, like he is now.
He is, yeah. Right.
I just remembered, I've got here in this envelope, which I was recently handed by my father. It is the 4 annual school reports from when I was in junior school.
Oh my!
All about me.
Let's get them read out.
Would you like to hear?
I would.
A little bit from one of these. You can choose from 1980, 1981, 1982, or 1983.
I'm going to go straight in with 1983.
83. We're going to go with the boy.
You were what, 10?
I was just about to turn 11 in 83.
Okay.
This is the end of the final year of junior school, pre-comprehensive. I'll not read it all because fucking hell, there's like a page and a half of it.
Fucking lot
I'll just
of
have a couple of paragraphs. And my teacher was Mr. Coughlin, who was a brilliant teacher. He took us for football as well, and he was great at that because he was into the modern football, whereas our other earlier football teacher, Mr. Wilkinson, still persisted with the WM formation, which had been big in the 1950s under Walter Winterbottom.
And his wingless wonders.
The wingless wonders, that was it, yeah. And I had to play inside left in the school team. To this day, still don't know. Don't know what that is. But I just ran up and down a bit. Anyway, here we go, Mr. Coughlin. Shiny Road Juniors, class 4K. Andrew is an extremely enthusiastic and lively member of the class.
Oh.
He is a confident, conscientious worker who obviously enjoys academic challenge and has achieved a very pleasing standard of work this year. Reading presents no problems for him. Oh. He obviously derives a great deal of pleasure from reading fiction and also possesses the necessary skills to use a wide selection of reference material, which will become increasingly useful to him as time goes on.
Yes.
His work in English is generally of a very high standard. He has a firm understanding of the technical aspects such as spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and has worked hard to improve his presentation. In addition to this, he has a strong sense of humor and a fertile imagination, which results in some excellently written, entertaining poetry and prose.
Oh, I'd love to see some of that.
Having said this, His style occasionally deserts him towards the end of a piece, as though he is in a rush to finish, and he would do well to remedy this. Yeah, fuck that. That's enough of that.
Yeah, boring.
That's enough of that now.
You probably ended stories with, and then it was all. Then he woke up and it was all a dream. That was
it. I remember one that I did where I just ended it with the phrase, "That's all, folks," because I just ran out of stuff. I ran out of stuff to say in the story, or as we were talking about recently at the end of Casino, where Robert De Niro's character just goes, "And that's that."
Yeah, that's a really nice. That's actually a really nice report. And,
yeah, I was pleased with it.
Yeah, and I think that teacher really had the measure of you as well. If you,
I might read one of the other ones out.
It kind of makes sense. I think he spotted
creative,
your potential.
Sense of humour.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit of a lapse in concentration now and again. Yeah,
good at spelling and punctuation.
Good at spelling. Yeah, fertile imagination.
Yeah,
enjoys reading fiction.
Yeah, and using reference materials. Because we've made quite a lot out of going through other people's books and talking about.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. We've feathered our nest from other people's work.
Yeah.
So I might read some more of one of the other ones next time, if you like.
No, that's good. That's a good little regular. Andy's.
Yeah.
Andy's
The Boy Who Became a Man.
Yeah.
That's that.
So, but that bookshop, just lastly on the bookshop in Hammersmith, it was pornos out the back, but in the front it was comics, like Marvel comics. And I got really into Marvel comics when I was about, I don't know, 11 or something like that. And I'd go down there, and you'd be standing in the front of the shop. There's quite a weird guy with a big long white beard, fucking Father Christmas sort of bloke, right? And you'd be going through looking at the latest Spider-Man and all that stuff. And then horrible looking men would come in and look both ways and then go through. And you know those doors they have in shops, or they don't have them anymore, but they were like strips of plastic hanging down.
Yes.
That was what divided the porn.
Swish through there.
Basically, the kid part from the adult part.
Yeah.
And if a kid ever tried to step through, which I would have never even fucking dreamt of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was really. It was very uncomfortable for me.
Oh, you were aware what was through that swishing curtain?
I knew what was
thing.
In there.
Yeah.
I knew what was in there because I'd been told, and it was sort of obvious, you know.
The vibe was. But
obvious. You get some kids who were cheekier than me, if you can imagine such a child, would be like, "Click, go in there," and the man would be like, "Get out of there!"
Yeah.
But what makes you think, why was it allowed? Do you know what I mean? Like, let's invent a shop that has like really adult sexual material in it, but also caters for kids. And what we'll do is we'll just have a swishy curtain to divide the two sections.
That would satisfy the council in terms of licenses and things like that. Yeah.
Inspect.
Do we have a swishy curtain?
Yeah.
Bright colours.
Pornography and comics, you say? Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to get yourself a swishy curtain if you want us to give you the license. Oh, how much are they then? Oh, I have no idea. Relatively inexpensive. You can even make your own. Oh, all right. Yeah, that should be fine. Very well. Stamp. Here's your porno license.
Off you go. Best of luck.
Yeah. It's wonderful to see a trusted young businessman with a sack full of ideas.
I was talking about that Mucky bookshop in Southwick in Sunderland, but there will be listeners who have, if they haven't already, have sent in an email or put a message under the Patreon and said, "But Andy, what about the dirty bookshop that used to be in Newcastle that everyone knows the name of, who was of a certain age?" And there was one, and I think it used to get mentioned in Viz now and again as well. Maybe advertised in Viz, maybe. And it was a dirty bookshop, and it was called Sven Adult Books. Sven.
Yeah.
Swedish,
yeah.
eh? Whoa!
That must be really mucky. I thought you were going to say they were called something like Canny Bangers. You cancers. The top mucky bookshop up the tune. Canny Bangers.
Sophisticated man. Sven. Swedish and all that. So I never went in there either.
If you ever got like foreign porn, or if anyone ever accessed it, it was absolutely mind-blowing. Wasn't it? Like in comparison, it was like normal English porn was just some old Doris with a perm in her fucking front room. Do you know what I mean? In some tatty old lingerie, let's be honest. But my brother came back from France. my brother came back from France one night. I obviously was always in his room rummaging about, and I found it. And honestly, like the production values of this porno mag were off. I mean, they made Vogue. No offense, but it made Vogue look like Clubbing Seals. It was like the photography was gorgeous. The paper stock was unbelievably thick.
Oh, that makes all the difference. Yeah,
and the
photos, wiped clean.
And the photos looked like they'd been like lit on a Hollywood movie set. It looked like Sir Ridley Scott himself had lit these shots. I remember one in particular that had a big impact on me in a stables. There was a stable girl, and I would examine this for hours when my brother was out, and I'd go into his room and get it out. But I don't even think I was in what you'd call your masturbatory heyday. I'm not sure if I was even at that stage. I think I was more looking and gawping and not quite sure what my response should be.
Like my feelings are confusing me.
Yeah, like there was a stirring. But I was like, what am I supposed to do with this fuck's sake? Unbelievable foreign porn. And that was the French, which was sophisticated. But if you got your hands on fucking German or Scandinavian, that was when they were cock spunked a lot.
I bet the German was fucking brutal.
Yeah, really brutal, yeah. But I can't remember. I did, like that was a bit later when I managed to see some of that. But of course now we're a right couple of old cunts because now all this stuff's available at the tap of a button, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Best not to think about it.
After you've listened to this episode, then go for it. But this episode we will be calling International Porn. Just before we go, a quick update on the prediction league. Some movement. You got 2 points, Sam. I got 4 points. Result Spot got 3. So I'm on 70. You're on 71. Result Spot is on 80. So not a lot of movement, but a little bit. We're slightly closing the gap, I think, between us, and we can defeat this fucking
There's a few months to go.
Yeah,
I've just quickly with regards to football, I've had a very exhausting day watching West Ham get absolutely.
I was hoping you weren't going to mention it. I thought we might get through the episode without mentioning.
No, I won't talk or rant about it, but I'll tell you the funny thing about it. Right, is it really exhausting? Both my kids came today, and
if you're listening to this in the future, just bring us up to speed with what the result was there, Sam.
It was 6-0 to Arsenal. It was 4-0 at half time, and I wanted to go at half time. But
I assumed you would have.
My kids said they wanted to stay.
We would have.
My kids said that they wanted to stay, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "My daughter was like, I think we could still get something from this." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Is that the kind of sarcasm that you were talking about in the last episode?
No, she was like West Ham. I don't know. I was just like, "What?" I don't know. She was just sort of like, "Stop being so negative." I was like, "Are you fucking insane?"
Anyway,
we left at 5-0.
Right.
But the funny bit about it is, it was a really long journey because on Sunday, it's interesting, London Underground sometimes choose the day that like 63,000 people are all travelling to that part of London to shut down one of the main train lines to that part of London. They do that regularly. Anyway, so you get home, it's fucking taking forever. And then my son reminds me, because my son's a member of like this the West Ham Junior Supporters Board thing. Though they invite these kids every like couple of months to make decisions about kids at the ground, blah blah.
Yeah,
and it's half term, and it's really nice, and he gets a big kick out being a member of it, and they've invited him along to open training tomorrow.
All right,
at the fucking stadium, and
he's got them in for training tomorrow morning after.
He's allowed, and my son has allowed me to accompany him, right?
Yeah,
and because these things, I don't get invited to them. You apply, you basically just write in, apply. There's no money or anything. You just apply, and you have to write a letter of application, like a job. And,
okay.
And he got through the process and got onto it this season. And so, but you're never allowed. A parent's not usually allowed to come, but on this one occasion, because it's half term. No, you have to drop him there, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because some of the kids are young. You have to drop.
Because everyone there's like police checked or whatever it's called, aren't they? It's all
I don't so. They go, you can't come in.
Yeah, David Sullivan's good on that kind of thing, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a trustworthy character. Yeah, and come in.
Did you say anything about the children's home recently that he's got part ownership of?
Yeah. And
we haven't got time, but yeah.
Anyway, the point of the story really is, I think it's funny that I went all the way over there. We lost 6. I came back. I'm in a really fucking bad mood. I'm exhausted, and my son reminds me that tomorrow morning I've got to get up really early, like at 8, get back on the fucking train, go all the way back over there, and watch some fucking train. And I don't think any of them are going to be in much of a fucking good mood either, are they?
Fuck.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I did watch it, I'll be honest, and I felt for you.
Yeah,
I felt for you. And me and my son were trying to work out when you would have left. Because we've got we've got a 0-3 walkout policy at Sunderland.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I hate all this. You can't leave. You have to stay.
Stay till the end.
Fuck off. Fuck it. I've got better things.
Shit.
I'm not fucking staying watching shit. It's fucking shit. I'm bored. I'm just bored. I'm going to do something else. Go home and spaghetti bolognese for tea. I'm thinking of that and that only at this stage.
I'll beat the traffic. I'll go pop in Asda and buy a nice big bar of chocolate and have a cup of tea with it.
Exactly.
Fuck this.
Sake. I'm not fucking staying. Apparently there was people, some fucking lunatic stayed to the end and then clapped Declan Rice. I thought, oh my God, the indignity of it.
He got subbed off.
You've just been stuffed fucking 6-0. And not only have you fucking stayed, you're like, well done, Declan Rice. We respect you. Fuck off, fucking Declan Rice and Arsenal. I tell you what, fuck off Declan Rice, fuck off Arsenal, and above all, fuck off West Ham. Fuck off everyone.
Thanks very much for listening. And that's that.
That's that.